God. Anyway, so then what happened? Let's have something positive. So I went to the GP because I thought, within about 2 weeks, I thought, this is no passing thing. This isn't going to go away on its own. So I went to the GP and my mum came with me. And she lives far away, but she'd come to stay to give my dad a break, because my dad is like, he lives around the corner, but he's a funny thing. He loves the kids, but he doesn't really do stuff outside the house with the kids. He comes here for meals, and he comes here to babysit for us occasionally. But he likes his own space. He likes to be at home, and he doesn't want to be with people or be with someone. He was with me, who was anxious all day till Ed got home from work. It really was draining. So after about 2 or 3 weeks, he said, I really need a break. Like, on the weekend, he wasn't coming all the time because Ed was here. So my mum came and it gave him a break. And we went to the GP. And I kind of knew a little bit already. And I'd been talking to my friend Jane and saying, like, what they're gonna say and stuff like that. And I described my symptoms to the GP. I was very anxious that day because I felt like, here's an opportunity to seek help and get better. What if I don't tell her everything? What if I leave something important out? I don't know. And she was really weird. She said to me, like, you seem very hyper. And I remember thinking, yeah, I'm no shit, Sherlock. I'm suffering from acute anxiety of some type. She was one of these experienced GPs who's like, I'm a doctor, you're not. She wanted to give me antidepressants because they can help with anxiety and depression. And at that time, and I still stand by that, and I'm so relieved that I didn't do it. It might be right for some people, but for me, I felt like I didn't want to go down that road, because I thought the further I get away from what I feel is normal for me, the longer the journey would be to get back. Anyway, so she gave me beta blockers. I can't remember the name of the one that I had, little pink tablets, which just suppress a little bit that adrenaline response. So it relaxes your heart rate a little bit. And it did work. I didn't take them all the time, but I would take one when I got up in the morning, and I would take another one later in the day. And they just calmed my system down enough that I wasn't in the total panic state at all times. It really worked with the palpitations and stuff. And then she gave me sleeping tablets, and she only gave me 14, and she said, use them how you want, but don't take one every night for 2 weeks, because then it's not going to fix it in that time, and then I'm not giving you any more. So what I did is I had them there as a kind of crutch in case I needed them. And after a week or so, that was enough to let me almost sleep, just knowing that if it became an emergency, I could take one and get a night's sleep. So I was not taking them, and then when I would wake, I would take a quarter or a half of one, and then usually that would be enough to knock me out for 4 or 5 hours. And so gradually my sleep pattern restored. So I didn't take antidepressants, but I did have some medications, and they were right for me at that time, and they helped me, but I'm not saying they're right for anyone else. So how did I get better? Okay. I just did some research, and I just did little things to enhance my well-being. I definitely decided to not, because part of my anxiety was obsessively fixating on the future, how short my life felt, like it was rushing by. Oh my God, I'm going to be 50. Oh my God, I'm going to be 60. I just tried really hard to slow everything down and just think of each day as a unit. There's nothing tomorrow, it's just today. And that really helped me. Sorry about the shouting in the background. I'm doing this, so Ed's struggling to do like gardening and things and the kids, and he needs Martha to watch the baby, but I'm not going to be much longer. I cut caffeine out. I cut sugar almost completely out. I forced myself to eat 3 times a day, even if it was only a small amount. I would make sure I had something when I got up. I drank plenty of water, constantly sipped water. I restricted my access to screens in the evening. I developed a very strong bedtime routine that involved lavender oil and a bath. And then I also had, from a friend who's a hypnotherapist, she sent me a hypnotherapy audio file, which I did with headphones whenever I felt anxious, but specifically before bed, I would do it. It was like guided visualization, and that would really help. I also really used the breathing techniques that I had learned in preparation for birth. So I went to a yoga class and we learned all about when you breathe out longer than you breathe in, you switch off that adrenaline cycle and you go from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system, and you cannot fail but calm down, reduce pain, inflammation, stress if you do that. So several times a day when things would get really overwhelming, I would just sit and do breathing exercises. That really helped me. I was very open. Everybody's different. I feel like when I unburden myself or I'm open, it feels less of a burden to carry, but other people have more of a sense of privacy. I mean, like, hello, I'm doing this on YouTube. So I just did not spend any time with anyone that it wasn't okay to just be like that. So I still saw people. I had friends that popped in to visit, and there were people who could see me in my pajamas on the sofa staring into space, but that's okay. When I was kind of coming out of it, and it was like I could go out in the world and function a bit more, but things were still overwhelming, I would just, if I went to see a friend for lunch, I would say, I'm feeling, I've been pretty anxious this morning. And it would almost like put it to one side. I've said it, it's over there. It's not affecting what we're doing right now. Like, these are just some things that I remember. It resolved fairly quickly. It kind of came very abruptly and very kind of strong, and it went away kind of the same way. So I had this target or deadline in my mind, which was that we were going away on holiday in July, and this started April, May. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I can't be this unwell and leave the house and go away for a week. There's no way I could deal with packing or any of those things, or being in a hotel. So I tried not to overthink it, because I thought then it could make me worse. But also having a target of like, I'm going to be well enough. Even if I don't feel happy in myself, I'm going to be functioning enough to give my kids a good holiday. It's that thing about smile even when you don't feel it, and that in itself can make you feel better. So I had that as a target, and I just decided to take each day as it comes. And I wrote a journal. That really helped. I was just thinking, sorry. So that was what happened for me, and there are lots of books and things people gave me. There's one, I can't remember the name of it, that's like the Bible of anxiety, and it's like self-help with loads of activities. Therapists use it, cognitive behavioural therapy kind of techniques for dealing with it. But I would say, this is just my opinion, when you're acutely unwell, and I would go that far as to say I was acutely unwell, I wasn't able to think clearly enough to tackle the causes or the problems, or to develop techniques I couldn't cope with that. My mum was giving me all these books and things and telling me to get myself on a course or group therapy, and I just wasn't ready. You have to go at the pace you have to go at, and I wouldn't have been able to get better without support from my parents and my husband, my friends. I'm lucky. I feel lucky because as extreme it felt at the time, I would say within a few months I was living a normal life. I would say the thing that remains is the intrusive and repetitive thoughts are something that constantly are looking for space in my mind, and I have to fight them off. So I am someone who is dealing with aging and being in my 40s really badly. I think that mainly relates to having a young child at my age. There's this feeling of, I wish I could go back in time and be 10 years younger than I am, which is not possible, so you can't resolve it. So the obsessive thoughts come back. But I'm able to manage them, and I'm able to enjoy every day with my kids. I've learned not to worry so much about the future and to think about making this a really good day, a really good week, a really good year. You don't know how long you've got, and so learning to live genuinely in the moment, in the present, is the way for me to feel happy. And it's a challenge, it's something I'm striving for all the time. What else do I want to say? This is really long already. So just to summarise how I got better, I used some medication to make me feel like I had tools to deal with the immediate crisis. I set really small goals. So my dad would say, today you're going to walk with me to the supermarket. We're going to buy things to make sandwiches. You're coming out of the house. You're going to push the buggy. And I would set that target. I would achieve it. And then I would come home and feel like, okay, that's good. You know, that helped me. Managing my daily routine. And that's something I'm still doing. So I suppose now I'm describing things that I'm doing that reduce the risk of it coming back. Or sometimes I start to feel a little bit anxious, not that feeling in my chest, but I've learned not to overload myself. So a lot of people that I know look at me and think, wow, she's got an easy life. You know, I have a housekeeper, even though I don't have a paid job. I have quite a lot of downtime, but I need that, and I'm lucky that I'm in a position where I can have that. Some people think that maybe I need more commitments in my life, and then I wouldn't be thinking about myself so much, and that's something that I'm also working on. But I try now to limit my time that I spend, whether it's online shopping and browsing, watching social media. I limit it to like chunks of 30 minutes, probably 2 a day, because I think that I want to live my life as fully as possible. We know life is short, and so I much more want to spend time doing things, leaving the house, going out with the kids, reading, things that just increase my well-being. Nutrition, I do try now. I eat a lot more positive foods. I don't mean it like a diet thing, but I really try and get all of the things that I need that can affect mood into my diet. So lots of leafy greens and fruits and vegetables and things. If I eat lots of processed food, I could start to not sleep as well, and I could start to just not feel good. Drinking plenty of water, getting enough sleep. For me, that when I mean not taking on too much, I mean if I was, say, going to go away on the weekend and get back really late on Sunday night, and I know that on Monday morning I have, which I do, another child that I look after, my best friend's daughter, while she goes to work, and then there's like the house is a mess and there's no food in the fridge, that kind of thing gives me just the briefest whiff of anxiety, and I just don't want to give it any space in my life. So I am an over-organiser now. I plan ahead to avoid stress. So, you know, I really try to keep on top of the house, the laundry, cooking. I used to be really chaotic and start cooking at 7 o'clock at night. It's ridiculous. Now I kind of prepare the kids' food well in advance, or if it's something really quick, I don't need to do that. But you know what I mean? I just have changed the way that I live to reduce stress, that can impact on me. Looking back, I do believe there's probably nothing I could have done to prevent what happened to me. I think, and the GP thinks, that I had a mixture of general anxiety disorder, but mixed with postnatal anxiety. I didn't even know that there was a thing, postnatal anxiety. I thought it was just postnatal depression. But basically, I stopped breastfeeding very shortly before all this happened, and I think I had a hormone. I'm a woman who's very dictated to by my hormones. Some women aren't, but you know, a different part of my monthly cycle, and then in pregnancy and postnatally, I do have I can get mood swings and stuff, and so it was almost like I think there was a huge tidal wave of hormone changes and stuff when I stopped breastfeeding, and that maybe accounts for the severity and sudden onset of the physical symptoms. But that's just my perspective. I'm very vigilant. I look for the triggers. and try to avoid them. And I am very open. As soon as I start to feel not right, I'll talk to Ed about it or talk to a close friend about it, and that's usually enough for me to feel like I'm not alone and I'm not facing something on my own, and then it kind of goes away. So the next video, which will be in the next probably 2 weeks, is going to be a bit more constructive. Where to go for help, things you could do to help yourself other than that I've described, the types of therapy available, talking therapy, medical, medicines and drugs, and that the main thing is, I did get better. It was really hard, but I'm so relieved, I'm so grateful that it only lasted as long as it did, and it did change me for the better, and it really did make me think differently about a lot of aspects of life, and I now value and treasure the relationships that mean something, my friends and my family, and the people that were really there for me. Getting unwell like that is a really good way of sorting out the people that really love you and the people that don't. Anyway, this is way too long, but I hope that you've stuck it out to the end and gone along on my journey with me. And yeah, if anybody leaves really nasty or abusive comments, I'm not going to respond to you, but I will delete your comment, because I would like the discussion underneath this video, if people do have comments, to be supporting one another. I've got lovely subscribers who really care about me, I know that, and I care about them, and we're a community, and I just think it was the time to share and be open. And yeah, thank you for sticking with me, and part 2 will be up in the next couple of weeks, where Jane and I will talk about treatment and help for people suffering from various forms of anxiety, and how we can support our friends and family if they're going through a hard time. I love you all very much. Take care.